What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Fantasy Fellowship channel. My name is Kyle. Quick one for you. We're going to go over 3 tips to make your fantasy football league more fun. And I'm going to start off with tip number 1. That one's going to be all about the free agent waiver wire acquisitions. I think you guys need to go to a free agent auction bidding system where you get a allotted amount of money, whether it's $100. I think that's the standard. But basically, you get $100 to buy your free agents throughout the year. So whenever you go to submit your claims, you're going to put like $10 on whatever, $10 to $20 on the top free agent guy. And essentially, this allows everyone a chance to get the top players in free agency. It shouldn't just be that the worst team gets, the first claim, because essentially rewarding that team from having a really bad draft and a really bad team. And if you're a good fantasy player, you don't get access to those players at the top of the waiver wire system. So having $100 throughout the whole season allows you to make calculated bids on those players and make sure that everyone gets a fair chance to do so. And then the other tip that's tied into the free agent auction bidding system is to set your waiver wire system to 2 days. So we don't want to be making our claims in on Tuesday night so that when you wake up on Wednesday morning, you see who you got. Because a lot of times there's really no news in the NFL on Tuesdays during the regular season. It's basically the first day of practice for NFL is Wednesday. So we want a full day of Wednesday practice reports and all that good stuff. And then basically you submit your waiver claims in on Wednesday so that when you wake up on Thursday, your players have been entered into the auction system and you guys get your guys on Thursday. So just push that back. 1 day, make it a 2-day waiver system. And then, free agent auction bidding, FAAB, is the way to go. No more of that claiming stuff for the waiver wire. Tip number 2 is going to be, this is more so for 12-team leagues. And I think the majority of fantasy football leagues are 12-team. All of my leagues are 12-team except for one. It's a 10-team. But in a 12-team league, you guys need to go to 7-man playoff formats. Your top 6 teams are going to make it based in on record. And then the tiebreaker for the 7th seed should be whoever's got the most points, because there's a lot of times where a team, could have the toughest points against them on their schedule. They just have an unlucky scheduling matchup and they have a really good team. They have high points. Say they're like 3rd or 4th in points scored, but their record's like, 5-9 or something like that. Basically, you want to reserve that final 7th seed for the team with the most points, and that should ensure that your top 7 teams get into the playoffs every single season. And then the reason for 7 is because it allows you to have the number 1 team get the first round bye, and then you week 1 in the playoffs, you have 3 matchups between those teams, and then those 3 winners move on to the final 4, and then it works its way that way as well. So 7-team playoff format it's a must, I think, for 12-team leagues. In a 10-team league, I don't think it's as important, but you can try it. I do think it can work. Otherwise, maybe 6 teams make the playoffs in 10-man leagues, but for sure in 12-man, I love 7. And then my league personally, the ones that we do what we call as a rumble week, where the first round of the playoffs, seeds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, they don't play each other. They play everybody. So the top 3 scores for that first weekend of the playoffs, we're going to take those top 3 scores and move them into the final 4. So that just ensures that everyone doesn't, get screwed over by, having the toughest matchup or whatever. We're basically just taking the top 3 scores in week 1 of the playoffs and moving them into the final 4. So that would be tip number 2, 7-man playoffs. And then, consider the Royal Rumble style. It's kind of fun. It gets everybody going and everybody plays each other. And then my final 3rd tip is going to be to get rid of kickers in your fantasy football league. Nobody likes having to draft a kicker. That's always the last pick of your draft. There's really no strategy to it. Sure, you're going to go after the Ravens kicker or the teams that score the most points. I get that, but nobody likes to lose because some kicker went off for 5 or 6 random field goals in a game. It's not fun. You don't want to have to root against field goals or for field goals. Now, what you do is you can keep your defenses. Defenses are fine because there is some strategy to making sure you play the best players are playing the best defenses and getting them off the waiver wire. That does take some skill. But for kickers, there's really no skill. Get rid of the kicker spot in your lineup and add a second flex. That makes the league so much more fun. And I think, honestly, out of the tips that I've shared today, I think that is my favorite tip. So let's get rid of kicker, add a second flex. So you're still starting 2 running backs, probably 2 receivers, and then now you have 2 flexes. It makes your drafts more fun because you're taking better players. It allows you to start 4 running backs or 4 wide receivers. There's just a lot of different strategies that can go into your draft process. And then, yeah, setting your lineup becomes more fun because now you just have one more player that actually matters in fantasy football. So those are my 3 tips. I hope you guys like this video. If you guys have anything to add, I'm sure there's tons of other fun tips, and I'd like to hear what you guys all have to say that you got. I don't know, what have you guys done in your fantasy leagues to make it different or unique? I love sharing ideas. So let me know in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe if you guys are new to the channel, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.